portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
A teenager out on bail for shop breaking was charged with murder today.
Our Andrew Knowles was in court as the charges were read.
18-year-old Shadrach Gibson appeared before Chief Magistrate Roger Gomez, faced with a murder charge. Authorities believe Gibson is responsible for last week's Sunday's murder of Sidney Brian Hart. Hart was found at Wolf Road, west of Jerome Avenue, with multiple stab wounds to the body. Due to the nature of the charges, he was not required to enter a plea, nor was bail granted. The matter will proceed by a voluntary bill of indictment on September 2nd, which means it will be sent directly to the Supreme Court. But that wasn't the only charge the teen was slapped with. Gibson pled guilty to damaging an electronic monitoring device valued at $2,000 back on March 23rd. We're told that he was out on bail on a shop-breaking charge. As he pled guilty, Magistrate Gomez informed Gibson that he would return to court on Tuesday for sentencing. He is remanded to prison. Andrew Knowles, ZNS Network News.
Stephen Dye Stubbs struggled with police officers today as he was escorted back to prison on day 3 of his murder trial. Police witness Gareth Ryan took the stand today. Ryan testified that on March 29, 1999, around 1 a.m., he was on surveillance duty at the Cocktails and Dreams nightclub when he heard what he believed to be gunshots coming from the direction of Club Rock. He said he and his partner, Officer Duncombe, observed persons running from the club in the direction of Cocktails and Dreams. Then he said he saw a person heading from Club Rock to the Cocktails and Dreams parking lot holding what appeared to be a black handgun, which he said he slid under a car. He said the person then left the scene in a heavily tinted white Mustang on West Bay Street. Prompted by the prosecution, Officer Ryan identified Stubbs seated in the prisoner's dock as the suspect he spotted with the weapon. He said he later retrieved the gun with 2 live rounds of ammunition from under the car before proceeding to the entrance of Club Rock, where the lifeless body of Corporal Jimmy Ambrose lay. However, under cross-examination today, Ryan admitted that no fingerprints belonging to Stubbs were found on the gun. Stubbs, along with Andrew Davis and Clinton Evans, are accused of murdering Officer Jimmy Ambrose.
Some other news now. Electro Telecom Limited CEO Paul Smith keeping his promise by rewarding the top 2 students of all 7 schools in New Providence's Northwestern District with laptop computers. Smith obtained his primary school education in this district, and as an adult, he believes awarding the top students will motivate their educational career, eventually enabling them to become productive citizens. Making the presentation at the T.G. Glover Primary School was National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage. The Honorable Dr. Bernard Nottage and Mr. Smith implored the young students to take advantage of what's available to them now to better contribute to the future.
Do not allow your talent to be only for you. Take it and spread it around. And I'm sure that 3 more years at the end of the junior high school level, that we would have a whole class where you have been, because you would then have make sure that you are going to not leave nobody behind.
This recognition doesn't mean now that you've accomplished something and you don't have to try hard anymore, but it just provides for you a benchmark that you should use to always be in that group that are selected not only for good behavior and how well they dress and for coming to school on time, but also for the quality of work that you do.
BTC recently got approval for more money to continue the expansion of its mobile network to keep up with the demand in the marketplace. BTC Senior Vice President of Brands and Communication, Marlon Johnson, talked about how BTC will be building up the network and adding more capacity.
This week, as a matter of fact, we are powering up the cell site at Seabreeze, and then Soldier Road near the Village Road Center. Seabreeze will go on air this week. Soldier Road is going to be next week, as far as we know, and then by early July, we should have a new cell site in the Shirley Street Plaza, and that actually boosts capacity in those places tremendously. We have expanded the capacity at the Pinewood cell site, and we have reconfigured the pole in Nassau Village, which were 2 areas that were challenges to us. In Freeport City, actually, we've just now expanded the base station there, the double the capacity going into Freeport City, right in the downtown area of Freeport, which again is because of the traffic, work traffic and the population traffic was the area of concern.
Johnson says there have been some challenges recently with drop calls. However, he said that issue is being addressed.
We did have some report over the last few days of an issue in one of our particular sectors of the island of New Providence. But that issue has been resolved and worked through, and it did cause our performance statistics to dip. We normally run at a drop call percentage of under 1%. And for some reason it went up over the last few evenings to at some as high as 10%. So there was an issue on the network that was reported and is being addressed. But what we encourage customers to do is that if they find that there's a particular area or that they're having an issue, it's okay to complain, of course, to the media and to complain in social media or wherever you want to. That's their right and their obligation. But what would really be helpful to us at BTC is that if you are having an issue, to please send us a note on it.
Well, coming up in sports, a new slate of officers takes over a track association.
And in Family Island news, we head to Crab Fest. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
This is your Royal Fidelity Business News. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Altaviz Munnings. With the establishment of a Nassau office for one of the world's largest independent commodity trading companies, CEO and Executive Director of the Bahamas Financial Services Board, Aaliyah Allen, indicated that the Bahamas has positioned itself as a viable location for other trading companies seeking to diversify their operations. She noted that the Bahamas has all the key ingredients in place to create an attractive jurisdiction for trading companies looking to relocate a trading facility or to establish a hub in a new or more favorable time zone. Caribbean Export, in partnership with Dutch-based GIZ, will offer ProNet training to small and medium-sized businesses across the Caribbean starting tomorrow at the Sheraton Nassau Beach Resort. Caribbean Export, in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance, will be delivering ProNet workshops for the first time in Nassau. ProNet is a management training program for small and medium-sized enterprises owners who want to grow their businesses and become more competitive. SMESs are defined as enterprises with more than 5 but less than 25 employees. And in international business, British Prime Minister David Cameron announced plans for the start of formal negotiations with the United States on a trade deal worth hundreds of billions of pounds aimed at boosting exports and driving growth. It's being considered the biggest bilateral trade deal in history between the European Union and the United States. United States President Barack Obama said the first round of negotiations would take place in Washington next month and should be concluded by the end of 2014. The talks were announced ahead of the G8 summit in Northern Ireland. That's your Fidelity Business News. I'm Altaviz Munnings.